And I'm going to ask you, Lee, like, give me an example of like a moment of transcendent awe in music for you.
I mean, I'm immediately flashing to a scene in a show we did last November in the Ryman Auditorium here in downtown Nashville, where Brian Sutton, who's maybe one of the most celebrated acoustic guitarists of our generation, and Tammy Rogers, very well-respected fiddle player here in town, where he performs on guitar this fantastic classical piece. It was a song written by the composer at meditating the death of his brother. And
goodness.
so Brian is playing this song, and the fiddle player's coming in. It's just the two of them on stage.
Yeah.
And it was this sort of, everybody's holding their breath.
Wow.
With them. And there's something about, I mean, how can grief be communicated through music that way? But it is, and it's just this incredible, shared moment of beauty and awe and grief in that. I don't know how that works, but it does. It's just amazing.
Thank you. Well, what a incredible example, and that's exactly, to me, the mystery of music and awe and transcendence and the sublime is, we know, like if I get with a big group of people, I see Taylor Swift, I'm rocking in unison, I start getting goosebumps, collective effervescence, sharing it. But the deeper question in some sense is how music through sounds conveys these existential themes like loss, grief, love, war, triumph, power, right? Which it does. And Susan Langer, the great philosopher, wrote about that very convincingly. But to me, how that happens is almost beyond science and rational description, right? That I was grieving the loss of my brother, and I went to interview this cellist, Yumi Kendall, and she was performing a John Adams piece, who's a great American composer, kind of a modern contemporary composer, Scheherazade 2.0, and I was listening to it, and I was just deep in the loss of my younger brother Rolf, and really not understanding it. And somehow toward the end of this symphony, or whatever it was called, the violin was sort of this soft sound that was abating, and there were these loud sounds coming out. And I started to understand that, that the softer forms were sort of fading into non-existence. Like, well, that's kind of the life cycle too, that there's this big process we're part of that quiets us. And I had this new insight into losing my brother.